Hi, I'm Hazel, and you're listening to the Nerds Templar.
Today, on the Nerds Templar, we are interviewing the one, the only, the Hazel from HazelNuttyGames. How are you doing today, Hazel?
Hi, I am doing quite well. Having a lovely morning. It's very stormy outside, but, so far I found that in America, the power tends to stay on through the toughest of conditions, so I'm just gonna not worry about it.
So is it like a snowstorm, rainstorm? What's going on?
It's a little bit of a windy rainstorm. I'm in sort of the Portland, Oregon area, so not a whole lot of snow, but lots and lots and lots of rain, and it's extra fun when it's windy because then it starts raining up. Cat gets very concerned when it starts getting against the windows. Very worried about it.
I mean, that's like something out of one of those climate change movies where the rain just starts to go up.
Yeah.
All right, so why don't you start by telling us a bit about yourself? Who are you, Hazel, and what is HazelNuttyGames? What makes Hazel Nutty?
Hi, I am Hazel. Hazel is me, and I'm Hazel, and that's about the end of that. I'm a huge WoW fan, and I am a YouTuber, and HazelNuttyGames is just my YouTube channel where I make YouTube videos about WoW. Those two words can accurately describe about 85% of my life.
Alright, fair enough. 85%? What's the other 15%, though?
Well, I sleep sometimes. I love Overwatch and cannot stop watching. And take a little time sometimes to watch some Korean TV dramas. It's nice to keep things of opposite spectrums in your life, just so you don't get too focused on any one given thing.
Oh no, like the World of Warcraft loading screen. All good things come in moderation. Even
Yes,
World of
of course.
Warcraft.
Even World of Warcraft.
I wonder if they put that in there like for legal reasons. They were just like, alright, someone played this game for 72 hours and they're not alive anymore. Let's just slip this in.
Yeah. I feel like it's probably just like somebody read that news story and then felt a little bit bad about it and decided to throw that in the loading screen just to make sure people know that it's okay. It's okay to not play WoW sometime. I at least need to hear that every now and then.
Yeah, no, I actually just unsubbed. I still have game time left, but I was like, there's so much going on, I just need to walk away for like a month.
Oh man.
Because I know if that sub's active, everything else goes out the window.
Well, right now at this particular stage in the game, it can be very overwhelming sort of deciding what to do, because at the end of the expansion, of course, you have access to everything that's come out during the expansion, and now we also have allied races, so there's all this pressure of alts, and then if you level an alt, how much catch-up do you want to do on it? And so there's a lot of options right now. It can definitely be overwhelming.
No, that's my thing right now. I have 9 110s, and I have 4 allied races, and I have every class but 3 of them. And it's like, do I just want to boost? Or do I care about the heritage armor? The Void Elf one looks pretty fly, don't get me wrong. I want those Void Wings. But at the same time, is it worth grinding those levels out again?
I find that a really good way to discover what is important to you in WoW is to think about what it is that you want to do in WoW. And I've sort of tailored my activities towards building me to doing the things that I want to do. And that can help me avoid getting a little bit too distracted. Because it can be very easy to be like, oh man, Lightforged Draenei look amazing. I want a Lightforged Draenei prot paladin. And then I remember I don't like him. And I would prefer to work on my Shadow Priest and then I get back in the character that I know I'm going to play. And then I spend time on that one. Same reason why I can very safely walk away from all first aid activities. Because one, they're being more or less removed. And secondly, I can heal myself without bandages. I don't need to level that up. It's okay. I have 1 bar on my profession screen that's just empty, and it's hard, but it's okay.
First aid, you will be missed.
Eh.
Yeah, that's a bit of an overstatement.
It will be missed by some people. It will definitely be missed by some people.
Let's just say,
I respect their right to like things.
It's not going to be the hot topic of any forum debate.
It was MMO Champion had a poll that they posted recently asking people if they do first aid, if they're planning to do first aid, and sort of how they feel about it being removed. And the vast majority of responses, I don't really do first aid, and I won't miss it, which I can relate to. But
which means all that linen cloth I've been holding up, gone. No use for it. Except for tailors.
You know, they don't really need it either.
That's true. Find me anyone that's like, oh man, I need to scratch that linen cloth itch. Oh man, those professions, man, the grind. So, you know, before we get too far off topic, what drove you to creating videos about World of Warcraft as opposed to, you know, videos about Overwatch, like you just said? Or Korean dramas.
Back when I first started making YouTube videos, it was before I discovered the world of Korean media at all, and it was before Overwatch came out. It was back in 2013. At the time, I had a lot of time on my hands in my life. I had recently taken like a 6-month break from work to come and stay in the United States to visit the man who then later became my husband. And because I was on a visitor visa, I was not legally allowed to work, and I didn't have really anything to do for, 6 months basically. So I decided to make some videos to kind of stay busy and learn something new during a period where I was unable to work. And it turned out pretty well, not necessarily at the time, but over time. And I chose WoW to make videos about because WoW, even before I started making videos, WoW was the vast majority of both my hobbies and my social life. I've always had more friends and I think better friendships online and through WoW than I've ever really been able to in real life, at least as an adult.
It is actually amazing how the internet has allowed for that type of stuff. Because, don't get me wrong, I have friends outside of the game, but a mass majority of people that I've interacted with over the past, let's just give it a year, have been online, and they have been massive friendships because of guilds and because of that. And I think World of Warcraft definitely has that major edge to where it promotes playing together. So those friendships are in kind of a nice environment to form, unless you're on a PvP team, in which case it's just cutthroat. No
PvP teams are where the strongest of friendships are made, but that also means that you have the strongest of betrayals. And it is wonderful to watch from the outside, but it can definitely be rough being in the middle of it in there.
I find that the RP community has the same type of stuff, because I was an RPer for a while, and role players take that stuff seriously. But yeah, PvP.
I think WoW as a game tends to encourage that kind of reaction, just because it's a game, but I think more so than other games that I've played, WoW to me is very much a lifestyle. It's not just the game that I play in my off time, but it's the people that I talk to. It's my Wednesday night. It's my entire wardrobe. It's my home decor. It's the things that I watch when I'm outside of playing the game. It's my goals. It's pretty much, I wouldn't say everything, but it's the vast majority of a lifestyle. And that can lead people to be very serious about it, because when it's most of what you put your attention into, of course it's going to be very important.
So you say it's what you watch when you don't play it. Who do you watch on YouTube? Like, who are your favorite WoW YouTubers?
Well, let's see. Alright, so I actually tend to watch WoW YouTube sort of behind the clock a little bit. Like, I watch things when they're old, because I don't want, I find that when I'm creating content, it's very easy to create content that's kind of like got a lot of the flavors of what you've been consuming.
Yeah, you don't want to influence your own creations.
Exactly. I don't want to, the last thing that I want is to accidentally copy something. And the best way for me to sort of mentally get myself around that is to not look at any of it. And then if I accidentally make the same video as somebody or something on a very similar topic, at least I know that it wasn't intentional. So I do enjoy watching WoW YouTubers, but I tend to watch things a little bit after the fact. And my favorites for that are probably, Talias and Nebatel for their hilarious content, of course. And then Hirama Red X and Novel for lore videos. And then when I want PvP and memes, that's when I go to watch Savix.
No, I'll agree with that. I watch most of those people. So who do you watch off of YouTube? On
Twitch, Savix does the live streams, and again, it's very much PvP and memes. And that's about all that I have time for as far as live streams. They're very much sort of long form content that you have to really have a lot of time for. And especially since the launch of the Overwatch League, I have not been able to scrape together a lot of extra time outside of that. Pretty much all of the work that I can manage to do while watching a stream is saved and sectioned off to do during my favorite Overwatch League teams playing. So I can't make any more time. They play 4 days a week for like 6 hours at a time.
Oh no, it's nuts. I actually, at first I was super pumped because Boston Uprising Northeast represent. But at the same time, there's just so much going on. People are having all these viewing parties, so I'll go to those. But at the end of the day, it's like Overwatch is taking up so much time.
It's so much time. And at first I couldn't really fathom how on earth anybody was supposed to make time. And now on Sundays through Tuesdays, I kind of miss it, and I'm wondering what I'm going to do when it's the offset.
So do you think
figure something
when they made Overwatch, they already had the idea for the Overwatch League?
Probably not in the form that it is now. It's something that's very much been enabled by the quality of the Overwatch competitive scene, but I do think that when they were designing and creating Overwatch, they did so with the forward-thinking mindset of, we want to make this at least compatible with being an esport in the future, because they run into issues with games like WoW. And WoW PvP has a great community and has a long history, but it was very much not created with the intent of becoming an esport, or if it wasn't very well executed. And there's a couple of different factors that make it not very compatible with esports, which is something that scene is struggling with now. So I think when making Overwatch, they can kind of look at how their other franchises have turned out in the esports scene and try to make it a game that is both inherently not only playable, but very viewable. And I think they did a great job with that.
No, I'll agree to that, because I tried watching some WoW PvP championships, and it's just, I have no idea what's going on half the time.
Yeah.
It's
they do their best, and they're doing the best they can with what they have. And I used to actually be very, very much into WoW PvP and watching the tournaments, but it's hard to keep up with.
No, definitely. Speaking of WoW PvP, how do you feel about Seething Shore?
The Seething Shore was fun. I really like the pacing of it. Of course, it was a little bit faster paced as a PvP brawl. It's been toned down a little bit now with the rate of Azerite spawn and whatnot, but I thought it was just the funniest thing when I spawned into it for the first time, because I didn't do any research beforehand. And you jump off the ship, and it's just like that one time that somebody made me play Fortnite. I'm like, man, of all games for them to borrow from and put into WoW, I did not expect the PUBG Fortnite ship drop down. You know, that's just, it was cool. I didn't expect it. And it's an element that you don't see in Battlegrounds, so I thought it was really fun.
No, I've been getting super into Fortnite lately, like half of the internet. And that was the first thing I said. I was like, wait, how do we get down? Because I expected to ship the land. Because I thought it was going to be pirate ships at first. And I was like, oh, that's going to be cool. And then it's airships. And I was like, how do we get down? And then once it started, I just see all these people jump off. And I was like, okay. And then it was awesome. Definitely.
I was very late to jump off of my first Seething Shore ship because it, you get into the battleground and you're on a moving ship. And the first thing you think of is Strand of the Ancients. And I've jumped off of my fair share of boats at Strand of the Ancients. And it doesn't go well. So I was very hesitant to jump off the Seething Shore ship because I wasn't 100% convinced I was supposed to, but after everybody else did it, I said,
leap of faith, I'm telling you, sometimes you just gotta take it. So you make all these WoW videos. You're at 77,000 subs right now?
Something like that.
So you're well on your way to the 100K mark, which I think is a silver play button. I'm not sure.
Not that I'm counting or anything, but yeah. A little bit.
It is. That's little milestone. The one everyone makes videos about. So based off your quality, I'm 100% convinced that you're gonna get there. But what keeps you motivated? What stops the burnout when you're making WoW content?
I would say that staying motivated is something that is very different day to day, and the way that you approach that is very different depending on the day. So some days I'll read a really supportive comment or a tweet or just like a message on my Discord of somebody that's just said something really nice, and that kind of sentiment that somebody that doesn't owe me anything can take time out of their life to watch something that I made and then, encourage me like that is just the sweetest thing, and that makes me want to work extra hard just to be the person that those type of people deserve. And then on some days, I tend to feel very inspired by like the content Blizzard is making and the amount of content that Blizzard is making, especially in Legion. The amount of like the patch pace and the content that they're putting out on PTRs and on the alpha. Like there's obviously just so much heart put into it. that you can't really do anything but your best in the face of that. And then some days I'm just absolutely not motivated at all, because that's just life. You're not always going to feel like sunshine and daisies every day. And on those days, you just kind of do it anyways, because, you know, eventually, you know, the good feelings come back and you don't want to get behind. So you got to sit down every day, regardless of how it feels.
No,
definitely. As far as stopping burnout, the things that I've learned that are good for that, and this is definitely something that I'm still learning to manage with, especially as I've been kind of ramping up my schedule, but I make sure to always sort of check in with myself and make sure that I'm working in a way that's sustainable. I will take regular breaks throughout the day to pet my cat and see her. I make sure that I'm eating real food. I prioritize both sleep and then exercise to, you know, just all things to sort of keep you a little bit on balance. And then I make sure to take time to enjoy things that aren't WoW or YouTube now and then, such as the Overwatch League or like a good K-drama or flashy K-pop music video, you know. No shame.
No, it's funny you say the K television, the Korean pop, because the more and more people I talk to, the more common that's becoming, is everyone's watching Korean dramas. And until about a year ago, I'd never heard the term Korean dramas.
It's just refreshingly different. It's not like I try very hard not to force the things that I like on other people, because then, you know, not only will they maybe not like it, but then you feel responsible for them not liking it. But it's just such a refreshing and different type of television that can be so goofy and funny. And I get a little bit, maybe I'm just choosing the wrong things to watch on Netflix, but I'm about done with gritty sci-fi post-apocalyptic dramas. I'm about done with them.
It's such an oversaturated market at this point. Like everyone and their mom is making a post-apocalyptic thing. And it all feels, when I watch it, I get a very Supernatural vibe to it all.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which, don't get me wrong, Supernatural is a phenomenal show. But not every show needs to feel like Supernatural.
Yeah.
So, aside from making videos and creating content, do you still play WoW just for fun? If so, like, what do you do just to kill the time?
Well, killing time is a privilege that I used to have that I no longer do. But I definitely do still sometimes play WoW for fun. It's hard to make the time now, for sure. I don't do it as much as I used to, but thank heck for streaming, because streaming gives me sort of a free license to take that time to sit down and then do the things that I want to do, such as mount runs or leveling, and then I can still be chatting with people, I can still be creating content, but I can also be attempting to get the Ashes of Alar that I still somehow don't have. And outside of stream days, the one thing that I do to kind of make sure that I'm still playing WoW is I make a little bit of time first thing in the morning. I make my tea and I make my breakfast and I sit down at my desk and I will check in with my WoW goals. I'll flip my missions. Lately, I've been doing pet battle dailies on the Void Elf alt that I've been, my new Void Elf main that I've been leveling to get her some experience. And just sort of whatever I feel like goes well with that breakfast tea, but I'll take 20 minutes to a half hour to play WoW a little bit every day. So, you know, I can't quit now.
No, I hear you. One doesn't change lifestyle so easily.
I'm in too deep.
WoW's not a drug, kids. It's a lifestyle.
Precise.
So, I've seen you do a lot of battle pet videos. I'm of the camp that they're Pokemon.
That's fair.
What do you think kind of draws people to battle pets? What's like the main draw that someone should go, battle pets are cool, besides how cute they can be? Because when that little pig battle pet comes out in Battle for Azeroth, I am going to get an army of them. And we're just going to storm one. And that's how we're going to take it. It's just little pigs. But what's the main draw for you for battle pets?
I think the draw is going to be different for different people, but for me, it's very much about collecting. I think that collecting stuff has been a really core part of WoW gameplay for a very long time. And every time that they expand the battle pet system with something like the Celestial Tournament or pet battle dungeons or, you know, raiding with leeches or whatnot, it's both, it's kind of like this two-part whammy where part of it is a means to collect pets because, of course, there's pet rewards from there. So, you know, you're doing the Celestial Tournament because you want that Zufu. You're doing the Wailing Caverns because you want an ever-living spore because you're a collector. And it's also a reason to fill out your collection more. You know, you show up at the Wailing Caverns to try and do that to get your ever-living spore, and you go, wow, I don't have nearly enough pets for this. And then you're just sort of expanding your collection. It's something that you can be ranked on and ranked against your peers on websites like Warcraft Pets. They can assign you a ranking depending on how many pets you have, how many of them are unique, what their level is, what their rarity is. So it's something that you can kind of work on consistently over time to get a score. And we all know everybody loves scores. And it's just, for me, it's about collecting. I think that the actual battle pet combat, while fun and engaging, isn't something that's meant to be a standalone game. I don't think pet battles are in any way positioned to be a sole gameplay activity in WoW, but as like a hobby within a hobby, it holds up very well and much better than something like archaeology.
Yeah, archaeology is after I got the ghost moose, I was pretty much done with it because ghost moose is best moose.
The ghost moose was best. There's a bold. The way that they did Legion archaeology for sure was a little bit puzzling because they had such a good and also related sort of collection-based thing going in Warlords and MoP where you would collect like perfect versions of all of these things. And I wonder if they figured people just burnt out on that because there really isn't, as far as I know at least. I don't know if there's an equivalent to that in Legion. If there is, I missed it.
No, battle pets, I do like the collectability. I know role players use them a lot because of the variety and, you know, everyone wants to play a mage with this really cool familiar.
Exactly.
So it is good for the roleplay aspect. I
love matching pets to each individual character. Like, even if you haven't gone fully into the roleplay community, I think that roleplaying is a spectrum, you know? Some people have backstories and they go and roleplay in Silvermoon City, and some people just kind of have sort of like headcanon about where their character comes from, and then some people just like to match their mount to their transmog to their pets. And I love that with so many pets in WoW, there is one that is going to look just perfect with whatever it is that you're setting up.
I'm telling you, my character's gonna look like a pig farmer coming Battle for Azeroth.
You do you, man.
I will.
You follow your heart.
I will. Those little piggies, those little wilburs. So getting away from battle pets, because I could talk about Battle for Azeroth pets all day, even if they are just glorified Pokemon. If you could experience any major WoW lore event, what would it be and why?
So, I was thinking about this, and I'm not always the best person to ask about WoW lore because I very much view it as something that's kind of cool, but I'm never going to be that person that knows all of the details. I'm more into the character design, and just being like, wow, Anduin looks real good in the cinematic. But as far as the WoW lore events, you look back through a list of them, they're all awful. There are battles, there are tragedies, there are people just dying horribly. There are people betraying other people and causing them to and murdering people horribly. It's just none of it sounds good. So I like pick through that list, and if I have to be there for one of them, it's like a major lore event and not just, you know, finding the Jade Forest and then settling down as a tea farmer. I think I would want to be at whatever kind of after parties happened following the death of Death, you know, at the end of Cataclysm. I feel like knowing that your world isn't going to be destroyed after all, that's got to be a relief, and there's got to be some good parties that happen at that point.
No, that's true. That's actually a good one. And the reason that this question was any major WoW lore event is when I asked Taliesin and Evitel that question, like, over a year ago. Taliesin was like, Brewfest. And I was like, oh, that's not what that question was supposed to be.
Yeah, that actually came to mind. I was actually thinking the Wandering Turtle Festival on Pandaria, and then I thought Brewfest, and then I was like, wow, those probably don't count as major, but it really depends on who you ask.
I'll give those to you, though. Alright, what's your favorite WoW micro holiday, while we're on the subject?
Trial of Style, duh. The only one worth doing.
The only one that
they're all charming, but because they're so optional, I end up just not doing any of them. And I love the ability to skip them. I love them for the fact that I don't have to do them because it's too many things in WoW sometimes. But the Trial of Style is definitely the best one, as far as I'm concerned.
I actually forgot it was Trial of Style this week until I noticed I wasn't paying for my transmogs. And then I was like, oh, it's time. It is my favorite as well. It's just fun to go up against random people and be like, yeah, I got more mugs than you. And they look pretty flat. Even if Blood Elves and Night Elves wearing slut mugs typically win. So, Battle for Azeroth. It's a thing.
Yes.
Coming in about 6 months. A little over.
sometime this year, sometime between tomorrow and September, and probably not tomorrow.
If only. Still waiting for my alpha key.
Not ready.
Not ready.
Not ready.
Do you have alpha access?
I do. For the very first time. It was the most exciting day of my life. I'm not even exaggerating.
No, I can imagine that. Because that's like official validation from Blizzard.
Right?
It's like, hey,
I'd been doing YouTube for 5 years, and I finally get that email after having kind of been a little bit down about not getting one in Warlords, and I just run like 5 laps around my apartment, and then I squish my cat, and she got mad. But
well, knowing now if we knew then what we know now, missing the Warlords alpha, it just would have been more bleak. I
did eventually get into that one, but as part of the PvPer wave, when they started inviting the 2.4 plus PvPers, I got in with that because at the end of Warlords, I really had nothing to do aside from grinding arena rating. So I did eventually get in, but not with the group of people I had originally.
So what's been your experiences so far? Like, what are you excited for most? What's really caught your eye? Have you played both Horde and Alliance? Which side do you like better so far?
I've done exploring on both of the sides. I've done more questing on Alliance for sure. Because most of what's available in Alpha so far is just the zones and the questing content, a lot of the systems are not in yet. I would say that the most exciting thing that I've been able to experience so far is the atmosphere. Like the questing and the storylines, at least on Alliance so far, because those are the ones that I've done, has just been absolutely on another level. And the atmosphere that's created by the characters you're interacting with, the things that you're doing, the graphics and the fog and the lighting effects, everything just feels really, really immersive, for lack of a better word, especially when you turn on the game sound, you turn on the ambient sound. It's all very, very cool. I'm really looking forward to leveling through that. And it's something that I'm sure is going to lose its shine after, you've done 1,300 world quests in the zone. But when you first step into it, it's so cool. I think that launch is going to be a really fun experience. Well, launch is always a fun experience, but I think launch is going to be a special experience for everybody.
I will say the Legion launch was super special because it didn't crash 19
right?
times.
Sorry, I'm saying that a lot. But yeah, that was just remarkable how smooth that was after having lived through everything that happened in Warlords, which I think is actually why the Legion launch was so smooth, because Warlords came out and Warlords had a lot of hype at launch and everything broke. And the structures and methods that they made to fix everything breaking, like the zone sharding technology, is the main reason why everything was so smooth in Legion, why we can look forward to expansion launches that we can actually play. Now they just need to figure out how to extend their mass pre-ordering system to make sure that doesn't break, and everything will be good.
I will say I got charged 3 times for Battle for Azeroth pre-orders.
Did you have to file a refund, or did the refund happen for you?
So, first thing I did was I contacted Blizzard, like, hey, you guys took money from me. This was at the 2 times. I was dumb enough to click 3, because I really wanted that pre-order. And they're like, yeah, that's happening a lot. They're just fake charges. Money's still in your account. You just need to talk to your bank and have them release the funds. So I was like, oh, cool. And then my bank went around and was like, so, we actually have a policy to hold that money for the merchant. For a certain amount of days, and if they don't take that money, we put it back. I was like, how long? And they're like 3 weeks. And I was like, oh my lord. Yeah, no, that was actually a really fun time, because I remember I was helping my grandmother with something, and I get a news alert on my phone, and it's like, Battle for Azeroth pre-orders live. And I was like, all right, let's hurry up, finish. I gotta get back.
That's
work is calling me.
Where were you when Battle for Azeroth pre-ordered?
The sun was shining and the snow was...
I was out of my house for the first time in like 3 weeks. I was actually like out in downtown for something else, and I almost never go anywhere on weekends. And the one time I am not within reach of my stuff, all of a sudden everything happens. Somebody knew, right?
So did you try to do what I did and try to pre-order it from your cell phone?
No.
Because that was literal hell.
Yeah, can imagine.
I was in queue for I put my phone on my driver's seat, and driving the half hour it takes from my grandmother's house to my house, nothing happened in the queue. And then my phone went to sleep, and then I lost my place in the queue. So I was like, oh, never doing that again. smartphones, they're not great for everything.
There you go.
So do you think they have any hidden surprises that they're gonna put in Battle for Azeroth? Anything you're wildly hoping for, even if they haven't even touched on the topic yet?
Hard to say in terms of new things that we haven't seen before. Obviously, we're going to see new iterations of features that have been in past expansions. I think that the capacity for Blizzard to sneak things into an expansion has been absolutely nullified because of data mining and because of how that works. I think that the most we can hope for in that category is to see new and cool and improved sort of secret riddles, like the Lucid Nightmare and like the Riddler's Mindworm and whatnot for the secret finding community to work out. Those have been getting increasingly more cool and engaged and ridiculous over time, and I look forward to seeing what they do in that sphere in Battle for Azeroth.
No, that was actually a really fun experience for the Lucid Nightmare.
You did the whole maze and all of it?
I did all of it, and I was right there with them in the Discord.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
I didn't offer anything. I had no clue. I just kept checking under the damn chair in that hole. But yeah, no, it was just so cool because someone would be like, guys, I figured it out. Then everyone would just be quiet and he would explain it. And it was just 400 people just simultaneously quieted down.
That's awesome.
It was really cool. So speaking of communities, you run a Discord, don't you? Tell us
we just started it very recently, like a week and a half ago or so. I put it off for a long, long time, but I think in 1 week I got requests from a dozen different people over 4 or 5 different platforms. I was like, all right, it's time. We'll sort this out. And it turned out to be an excellent decision because on top of having a nice place to chat, I also have set up a channel for people to post pictures of their pets, and it's just like a personal stash of adorable cats and dogs and a turtle or two, and I can't be happier.
I actually just opened that tab because I snuck into your Discord. And there was a cat that I thought was just straight standing on a faucet, and I was really impressed until I saw him supporting himself on the windowsill. Cat skills on fleek though. Cat does not care. He just wants to go outside like a good boy. So next question. As much as I love talking about Battle for Azeroth, if you weren't streaming / YouTubing, what would you be doing? What other life goals did you want to chase at one point?
Well, like a lot of people, I've gone through a variety of different plans that didn't resemble each other at all. The most recent plan B used to be, if YouTube didn't work out, I was going to try and get either another retail or a data entry job and then save up some money. And then once I had some money saved up, I would go back to school for a computer science degree to try and become a software engineer. That was the most recent backup plan anyway. But I've gone through a couple of different ones, and they're all getting a little dusty. I might need a new one if everything goes south. But for now, it seems to be good to kind of do the YouTube thing and try and create and develop as many skills as I can along the way, so that if Google ever just implodes, I can find some kind of related job. But I definitely used to want to go back to school for computer science.
I have a feeling you'd be good at it since you walked me through OBS just before we did this. So speaking of, if YouTube goes haywire, if it goes crazy, the hot topic, it's not as hot as it is, or as it was, but Adpocalypse, the almighty.
Yeah.
How has that affected you? Has the Adpocalypse kind of lightened its impact? Is it still strongly there? I know you have a Patreon, so does every other WoW YouTuber, it's starting to look like. How do all those kinds of things tie into your feelings of WoW YouTubing as a career or as a living?
So, the Adpocalypse has hit me a lot harder than I initially expected when I started hearing news reports. Originally, I was like, well, my channel isn't about anything controversial. We're talking about digital bunnies in World of Warcraft. What could possibly not be not ad-friendly about that? But it turns out that the algorithm in its baby stages of learning what is and is not ad-friendly doesn't really discriminate, and almost all of my videos are demonetized for about a 48-hour period after they're uploaded, and they all get appealed and they all come back fine. But it has been a significant impact on the income that I make from ad revenue, which is why, like you said, Patreon becomes so important. as well as things like on YouTube live streaming, there's, super chat and sponsorships, much like there is on Twitch. So as far as it being reliable, as far as YouTube WoW being a reliable career, it's as reliable as it's ever been. I wouldn't say that it's gotten any more or less of a good idea. I do think that kind of diversifying a little bit is always a good thing, making sure that your eggs aren't all in that one specific basket, having things like the Patreon and making sure that's set up in a way that it works for everybody. And I've been looking into, hopefully at some point this year, designing our first pieces of merch. But, honestly, YouTube was never really a great idea. Everybody kind of looked at me funny when I said I was going to try to do it full time, but it's one of those things that I'm just going to try and do for as long as it works, and then when it no longer works, I'm gonna figure it out then. Adpocalypse has definitely been a problem. It does seem to be lightening up a little bit, but I'm afraid to jinx it, because every time that I think that it's over and that my videos aren't getting flagged anymore, all of a sudden they all get flagged, so I'm just not gonna touch it. For now, it looks a little better, but you never know.
Every time I see, like, Adpocalypse come up, I just assume someone says Logan Paul's name 3 times in front of a mirror.
Yeah.
Because for a while it was just like every week he was doing something.
And it was PewDiePie before that. There's always going to be somebody to blame for it. It's just kind of an evolving platform and an evolving monetization model that everybody's trying to figure out how it's going to work. I do have confidence that YouTube is a big enough company and Google is a big enough company, and that they will eventually figure this out. Obviously, it's not great how it's been handled along the way, and there are probably different ways that they could have tackled this problem, but it was going to be a problem. It's not something that you can just ignore forever. If your advertisers pull out, then that's not good for anybody either. And, I have to have faith that they're doing their best, because otherwise, what am I doing with my life? I have to believe.
No, I hear you. Especially from a business standpoint, it's always really tough to make sure everyone's happy, especially when interests are conflicting each other. But no, Google and YouTube, they're definitely big enough to try and figure out a nice balance, even if it's not an existing model for YouTube creators yet. Speaking of YouTube creators and projects and videos and all that good stuff, do you have any... That was a terrible segue. Do you have any projects coming up that you want to talk about? Anything that your fans might not know about, that you want to unveil in grand fashion?
I really wish I was allowed to tell you. There's nothing that I can unveil that I am allowed to tell you. I will say that going through Battle for Azeroth, I will be doing normal and heroic raid guides once again. I was very humbled and grateful for the response I got to the last set of those that I did, so I'm definitely going to be making more of those. And just kind of doing my normal thing, normal live streams, Fridays and Tuesdays. They are on YouTube. I know some people get very confused when I say that I'm streaming, and they go to my Twitch page, and it's been inactive for a year, and they think they're in an alternate reality, but it is on YouTube Live.
So why choose YouTube as a streaming service as opposed to Twitch? There
are a couple of different reasons, and I think it's different for everybody. I'm not going to come out here and try to say that YouTube is the definitively best live stream platform, but I think that for me, with the kind of content I make as a YouTube creator, it's definitely the best way to go. There's a bunch of different factors, and I actually made a whole video going over the pros and cons of Twitch versus YouTube from a creator point of view. But the gist of it is that, more of my community can find me on YouTube, because if they're already watching the video, the notification's right there. It's a little bit more visible than the Twitch one. There is a Twitch link through feature, but it's not the best. And as well as that, any analytics from my YouTube stream will benefit my overall channel standing, which helps in things like search and discovery, and helps the videos that I make get seen. And also, I find that YouTube has a little bit less drive-by traffic, which sounds like a bad thing, but if you're streaming on Twitch, and I used to stream on Twitch, I did it for years, you get a lot of people that are just kind of browsing through the listings, and they'll come in and they'll say something incredibly toxic, and they'll harass people, and then they'll leave. And that's a problem that I haven't had to nearly the same extent on YouTube, because of the different ways that people interact with the platform. So it's just been a little bit of a less toxic place to spend my time and to chat with my viewers. And for the most part, everybody seems to have found me there, and it's been working really well. Also, technically speaking, because YouTube does not throttle my bitrate in the same way that Twitch would, because with Twitch I would be a non-partner, on YouTube I can stream with pretty much whatever bitrate I want, which means that because I have the technology, I can put out a 1080p 60 FPS stream, and it can run pretty well for most people, because they give me they give me downscaling options for viewers, so somebody viewing on a poor internet connection can watch it in a lower quality, whereas Twitch reserves that kind of capability just for partners, and I find that the YouTube one does work better. So I'm very invested in making sure that the technical fidelity of my videos and streams is as good as I can make it. It's obviously always an evolving process, but I value streaming on the platform that lets me stream in the highest quality.
No, that's those are actually really cogent points, really good points. So I'm not a big streaming guy. I assume when you keep all your eggs in YouTube's quote-unquote basket for like making videos and streaming, it alerts your subscribers.
Yep, it does.
Right.
And it also makes a very easy way for me to leave the VODs of my live stream up on my channel. They're automatically there because YouTube already has them. So it's very easy for me to make those available without having to like download or re-upload. And I'm lucky to have people that will still watch them, even though I put no time into editing them. I'm very grateful that people will still get something out of them after they're over.
No, that's awesome. And we are running out of time with our deadline. So, fun fact time. What are some fun facts about yourself, Hazel? Things that people might not know. We already got the Korean soap operas out of the way.
Yeah.
That was an incredibly fun fact, though.
Was it?
I'd say so. So what are other fun facts?
Okay. One that people sometimes don't always expect, I don't know how this qualifies as fun, but I have mained a gnome in-game for a long time. I'm switching to Void Elf now, but for years I've been a gnome. But despite playing a gnome in-game, I am actually quite tall in real life. I'm about 5'10", which is 178 centimeters for metric folks. I've met 2 or 3 people in real life that have only known me online up until that point, and the first response with all of them has been something to the effect of, "My, you're a tall one." So people see the gnome and nobody expects me to be tall.
And they just throw
Speaking
the
of
gnome quote right at you.
Yeah. I would say another one is I spent, despite the fact that I'm very much committed to being a Shadow Priest now, I spent the first 5 years of my WoW career as a chronic alcoholic, and I could not pick what to play, and I could not pick which faction I wanted to play, and I couldn't pick a server, and I just started over and over and over and over again. And I did that for 5 continuous years of WoW playing before I finally settled on my main spec of Shadow Priest. So I would say that if you're having trouble picking a main, which is something I hear from people a lot, it's okay, you know. One day the wand will choose the wizard, or maybe it won't, and that's fine too. And the last one is that I'm an amateur, I would say very much amateur, but I'm an amateur computer enthusiast. I'm really looking forward to my next build when I get everything together to get that and when the right things come onto the market. And I'm just kind of sort of wishfully hoping these days for the graphics card and the RAM, the memory markets to return to normal after the whole, you know, cryptocurrency thing. And it's starting to feel exactly like that time that I waited for WoW token prices to come back down. I'm kind of starting to lose hope.
It's actually, I love WoW tokens. I love them because it's that whole, I don't have enough time to play, so I'd rather just give more money. Do you know how different the EU WoW token is in like terms of value?
Yeah, it's huge. It's much more valuable. And as a fun fact, they don't let you buy WoW tokens on a region that's not your own. I was very dismayed to find that out when I made my EU account, because that was my plan to get gold, was I was just going to buy a token, but they don't let you.
What?
Your account's not on that server. Or on that realm. I didn't know that. There might be a workaround, but I haven't found one that I've been comfortable with yet.
So I created like a whole different account, whole different BattleNet like account, different game license.
That might work, assuming that you have a European-based payment method. That might be the sticking point. I still need to do more research.
I have PayPal. That's why I run it through. I wonder. I'll give it a shot. I'll change my PayPal's like location.
But anyways, yeah, the EU WoW token is vastly more valuable.
Yeah, it was like 300k when I first logged in. I was like, oh.
Oh, you're cutting it a little bit.
Oh. Can you hear me now?
Yes, there you are.
All right. Is there anything you want to plug? Any, you know, Patreon, Twitter, stuff like that? Or some people do charities. It's up to you.
Oh, I'm not presently affiliated with any charities. I'm sure that you'll find out on my social media platform. For the most part, I can be found pretty much anywhere you would expect to find somebody like this. So, of course, I have a Twitter and an Instagram and a YouTube and a Discord and a Patreon and whatnot. They're all linked pretty much, you know, interspersedly. So if you find me on youtube.com/HazelNuttyGames, you'll find all of my other links there in the event that you are interested in checking them out. Yeah, it's a fun time. Come say hi in a live stream sometime. We do those Friday afternoons, Pacific time, 3 to 5. And I also do a Tuesday morning one now that starts at 9 a.m. Pacific time. Where we do mount runs every week. So those are a fun place to kind of meet new people and hang out.
All right. Well, it's been great talking to you, Hazel.
Thank you very much for having me.
Anytime. Hey guys, Zach here. Thanks very much for tuning into the interview. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please comment, like, and subscribe down below so you can stay up to date with all the content that I'll be doing. In the comments section, let us know who you want to see interviewed next, because that's going to be the main point of this channel, as well as maybe some game reviews, but I'm going to stick it mainly to interviews for now. So, you know, YouTubers, stuff like that, just let us know.